Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Kathy again, here to talk about a very interesting, I've always got interesting topics, a very interesting topic leading into our orgasm topic. So I really want to talk about orgasms. But this week, I'm going to focus on communication, communication with yourself, communication with you. Okay? Because to communicate, which is to exchange information, you have to know how to communicate. And a lot of us do not know how to communicate, sadly, right? The reason is because we were not brought up to communicate, right? I know that my dad, RIP, he was a great guy, right? He was a professor and he learned so many things that he taught me too. But it was really hard for him as a man, old school, to communicate to daughters. He had five girls. And we sort of grew up with a man, a father figure that loved us and took us all over the place, but didn't sit down, stare us in the eye, and have great conversations with us. He would tell us some things, tell us stories. He would chit chat very briefly, but not long. He allowed his families to do it. We had aunts and uncles and cousins and friends talking to us all the time, and we had a great childhood. But it was very difficult for us to understand why our father didn't communicate with us. And we saw other friends growing up, and their parents communicated with them most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time we'd see their friends communicating and having serious conversations. My mother was awesome. She is awesome. She's still alive. She's in Toronto. And she really communicated with me and my family and my sisters very well, but still not the same as an intense communication that some families have. So the more intense communication you have in your family, the more you understand how to communicate. Communication is the key to life. And we all know that without great communication, we cannot get anywhere, whether it's in life, job, family, uh, relationships, we just cannot progress. So, understanding communication, exchanging information within yourself is where I want to start today. What does that mean? It means, who are you? Do you put yourself first? Are you in love with you first? And I ask people this all the time. Who do you put first? And I will get the answer of someone else before they put themselves first. And I'm always shocked when I get that. If I say, let's say you are going out and you don't want to be disturbed, and someone calls you and says, hey, can you do this for me? A lot of people will say, you know what, I am going to do it because I'm going to inconvenience myself and help this person because they can't say no. So if you can't say no, that is not the best choice because you want to put yourself first and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm doing something. I'll have to come back to do it later on, or just let's talk later on and see what another time I can do it, or a more convenient time for me to do it for you. It's just, you have to learn how to say no. And that's hard for some people. So I'm going to implore you, I'm going to plead with you. You have to learn to say no when it comes to your satisfaction, when it comes to your pleasing yourself. And I'm saying across the board, if you have a hard time saying no, you're going the wrong direction. You've got to learn to be able to stand up and defend yourself, know yourself, and put yourself first. What does that achieve? It means now that you are able to take care of yourself. In an airplane, they say if the mask if it comes down, who do you put the mask on first? Yourself. Why? So that you can help more people. If you put the mask on someone else and someone else and someone else, and you haven't put the mask on yourself, you cannot help yourself. You cannot help anybody because you'll pass out and die. So the game plan is to put yourself first. Okay? I'm going to say this again. You have to say no to people that need to be told no. You've got to put yourself first. Now, do I mean in a narcissistic way? No. I mean rationally. When things happen and you have to say, I come first, you say it with pride, confidence, and high self-esteem, and you say, you know what, I deserve this, and you put yourself first. I can give you so many examples, but you have to look into your life and know, are you putting yourself first? That's how you know that you love yourself. Love is not just words, it's actions. So you'll be able to say, you know what, I'm going to look good today. I'm going to dress myself today and look great today. Or I'm going to go and take a vacation. I tell some of my patients to go take a vacation. They need a vacation. They never get to take a break. They're always working for this person, for that person, and not putting themselves first. So one has to know how to put themselves first. Now, what do I mean by that? Just to take care of yourself. I mean, you want to show the world that you're capable of taking care of yourself. And you want to show the world how well you're doing it, because you're going to now attract people that want to now be with you that are like you, right? You are what you attract. So remember to communicate to yourself, convince yourself. And if you need to go for therapy, you need to go for advice, find a doctor, find a friend, I always say the church, if that's what you'd like to do, and find someone that will support you and help you put yourself first. Books, social media, there's so many avenues on the internet now. So you've got to go into these areas and find out how to put yourself first. And I mean it. Without putting yourself first, you cannot communicate, right? I mean, if you meet somebody, right, and you date someone, you're not going to be able to tell the person what you want in the bedroom, which is what I've always said to communicate, right? Which is why I'm coming back to you. You need to be able to tell your partner what you want in the bedroom. But if you're not a good communicator, you're not going to be able to tell your partner what you want in the bedroom. And I can tell you, it's not easy. I'm going to try and get an example next week, maybe Monday, for someone to come on the show and actually give an example of how to communicate. I'm going to ask some serious questions, and he's going to show how he can communicate with me, because I think we need some great examples of how to communicate and how to open up and be vulnerable sometimes, because we're not. Now, I know that some men, and I know I shouldn't say this, but some men do not want to communicate. And some women don't want to communicate, but mostly men, because we talk, especially me. Chitter chatter, right? Why? Because I want you to know who I am. And if you can't handle me, ciao, bye, see ya, right? But I'm hoping you can, because I think I'm very interesting. But then again, I'm not for everyone. You're not for everyone. I just need the one. You just need the one, right? So it's not like we're looking for 100 people. We're really looking for someone that really genuinely will care for us. But for them to care for us, they have to know who we are. And for them to know who we are, we have to know who we are first. So do you know who you are? Do you communicate to yourself with love? Do you understand your negatives and your positives? Do you know whether you know where you are in life? Are you planning to go further? Are you stagnant? Are you unhappy? Are you doing anything about all these things? That is communicating with yourself. That is taking care and putting yourself first. You're unhappy, change it. Because if you don't change it, you're not putting yourself first. And you're going to get into relationships where you're unhappy and you will not be able to communicate. Okay? So when it comes to communicating, it's not just knowing how to communicate or knowing that you have to talk and share. No, it's deeper than that. It's actually being able to give information to someone that you normally would not give. Okay, some people say, oh, they don't need to know everything about me. And the answer is, you're right. They don't need to know everything, but they do need to know some important things for them to know who you really are. And if they don't know who you really are, they're going to get frustrated in the end and the relationship will not last. So whoever you're with, you really want to be honest and not pretend to be something that you're not. Because when you do that, you're going to be miserable. You're going to go through a relationship pretending, walking on eggshells, and then eventually you're going to change. And I've seen it so many times. It's the most sad thing to see when a relationship goes south or goes sour because one of them finally comes out to be who they really were or really are, and they've been hiding that themselves all this time only to please the partner. And then when they truly come out, the partner says, "Who are you? Goodbye." And then the partner leaves. So you really instead want to grow together, right, in a relationship and know that you got each other's back and that you know each other's faults and each other's, problems, and sort of hope that it's a complement. The two of you are a complement together, right? That you're working well together in a relationship, knowing each other's deficiencies. But to know each other's deficiencies, you've both got to be honest. But right now, we're talking about you. I want to talk about you. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be able to say, okay, I am not very organized, or I am late. I'm late, 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 and I've got to do better. Or I don't manage my time well, or I'm not good with my diet, or I'm eating things at night that I shouldn't be eating at night, binge eating, right? So there are things that you are going to have to evaluate on your own and come to the conclusion, oh my gosh, I'm a narcissist. Oh my gosh, I'm a psychopath. Oh my gosh, I'm bipolar, right? When you have a psych issue, that can be debilitating, that can be crippling. So you want to be able to understand your psyche. Are you stable? Because if you're not, you need to get help. Absolutely get some help. Therapy, psychologist, psychiatrist, your primary care doctor will guide you in the right way. But you have to have a sane mind. If your mind is not stable and is not sane, you will not be able to communicate. You will not be able to have a steady relationship that will last for a long time. You're going to go in and out of relationships, but you really want to, first of all, make sure you take care of your brain health and your physical health. Always get your physicals. But the brain health to me is more important because you cannot get physically healthy without your brain being healthy. So you've got to get your brain healthy. I always talk about the broken brain. The broken brain is the brain that just cannot work properly. It's just disorganized, it's confused, it's not going forward, instead it's going backwards, and it's going forward and backwards. It's not going forward and producing productive things that the person can say, I am becoming successful in life. Instead, they're just plateauing or they're going downwards. And you don't want to be in that situation. So please seek help. If you have any issues psychologically, there are numbers to call, 1-800 numbers. Just let me know if you need any numbers and I will refer them to you. But please remember that you can get help. We are in a world, especially in America, where we can reach out for help like that. Okay? So going back to you, who are you? Do you love you? And if you do, how much do you love yourself? Right? When you think of animals, and I believe we're all animals, we all became here and became animals, and we actually became the big kahuna, the leader of all the animals, right? So we have the ability to think, we have thought. The animals that we see, dogs, cats, do not. Lions, elephants. But have you seen them communicate? They communicate. Isn't that cool? Without words. We are the intelligent being, right? We communicate with words. I'm having a hard time doing that. But do you see dogs even communicating with us? Cats are a little bit more finicky. But the dogs, they love us. You can see without words. And that is the example I want to give to you, being able to love yourself without words. It's there, it's innate. When dogs love you, animals love you, and you know that experience. It's almost the same as you loving yourself, unconditionally. But if you start thinking and overthinking and your brain gets in the way, then that interferes with your unconditional love of yourself. Now, I'm not talking about unconditional love about someone else right now. I'm talking about yourself, loving yourself unconditionally through your faults and through whatever you're going through, and understanding that, yes, when you fail, I remember I had to tell someone this before, that when you fail, you learn. We should know this by now. Failure is important. You get up, you try again, and you learn and you get better and you get better, right? But if you are scared of trying because you're scared of failing, you're not going to learn. So I'm imploring you, fail, learn, make mistakes, get up, learn it again, practice it, keep on going, because that is how you become successful, and that's how you get to know yourself and see how far you can climb, right? One day I'll tell you my story of how I became a doctor, right? It's a long story, but it's a pretty cool story where I actually sometimes think that I wasn't meant to be a doctor, and I'll tell you the story one day. The initial impact of knowing what you are and where you want to go is key. So you've got to be honest to yourself and you've got to tell the world, get lost. This is about me. Again, I'm not saying in a cruel or mean way, but those of you that are extending yourself for other family members, those of you that are extending yourself for people that should not be doing this to you, it's not fair to you. Don't you see that? Can't you see that there is so much you can take and that to progress in life, you have to now put yourself first, right? Now, if you're in a relationship, if you're with your family members, make it fair. Just don't make it all about them. Make it about yourself too. Take time for yourself. If you have to check into a hotel, go and check into a hotel. If you have to go on vacation, go on vacation. Take time for yourself so that you will love yourself. Guys, same thing. Girls, ladies, you have to do this for yourself so that we're not men. We need time to chillax, to recoup, right? So if you're able to look at yourself and love yourself, that's the starting point. Because you are now going to have to communicate with someone else after you've learned how to communicate with yourself. All right? I'm going to say that again. Once you know how to communicate with yourself, right? Meaning you have put yourself first, you are now where you want to be, meaning you are happy and you are content with where you're going. You have made changes to be in the right direction. Follow your purpose, follow your passion, follow where your destiny is supposed to take you, right? When you're on that path, things will come to you, doors will open. Doors will open when you're on that path intuitively. Okay? So when you are on that journey, you have to make sure that you're not falling off that journey by getting back on the track. And that's what I want you to understand. You are in control of what happens to you. Not 100%, but pretty high percentage, right? Meaning you make decisions that will make other decisions happen to you and make other consequences and stuff happen to you. Karma, right? So you have to know that each decision you make, whether you turn right, whether you turn left, whether you go out with this person or go out with that person, turn that person down, you are the person that's going to suffer or enjoy the consequences of your decision making. But you have to know that it is very, very serious when it comes to life, right? And your purpose. You've got to stay the course. To do that, you've got to know what the course is. And you can only know that. And how do you know that? By communicating with yourself. I tell my patients, I tell my friends, when you're on the right purpose, you will know it. You will know it because you enjoy doing it. You will stay up late at night, like me, and do it. You don't even know time is going by, and you're doing your purpose. Now, your purpose is something that elevates the other people, the people in the world, persons, population, groups, all these things that we do, it's supposed to elevate other people. And then you're on the right purpose also, right? You don't want to take anyone down, you don't want to hurt anybody, you want to elevate other people. So the most serious thing you can do is make a decision to always be positive, that you know you're in the right direction. But when you're doing things negative, you're going in the wrong direction because things will always come back. Life has to balance out, right? My decision to talk and teach about orgasms and about communication is because I've seen it too much in my practice where people are just not communicating. And so I'm coming up with a book that is going to be about communicating to get that orgasm. And I'm talking now about your understanding you first. Because when you understand yourself, then you can understand someone else. So the first question I asked you was, are you putting yourself first? And that answer has to be yes. Because when you do, you'll be elated. You'll be so happy. You'll be ecstatic when you say, oh my gosh, I did it. I told them no. And then you'll say, now you get it. Because again, doors will open and things will come to you that were waiting to come to you before, but they couldn't come because you just were scared to handle the future. And that future is for you and your purpose and your path to move on and come to fruition. Okay? All right. So I did want to mention that there is a word I know some people don't like to hear, right? But it's the extrasensory perception. Now, this is something that I know it's going out and over beyond what I talk about normally, but I want to mention this because ESP, right? You know, being psychic, being clairvoyant, being telepathic, these are things that a lot of people don't believe in, right? And some do. I don't know if you do or not, but I am someone that really keeps an open mind. And I know that studies are being done right now and have been done forever, for years and centuries, about these, clairvoyants, these psychics. And I want to bring that up because I want you to understand that you are someone that probably has the same ability as our dogs and our cats to communicate without words. Okay? I want to say that again. You can communicate without words. Now, I have an identical twin sister. Okay? Yes, I'm an identical twin. And we can communicate. I am not going to say telepathically, but we get feelings for each other when we're in pain or when we're in sorrow or when we're going through something. We have a sixth sense, right? Sixth sense is the same sort of thing where we can say, oh my gosh, let me call and find out what's going on. Okay? Now, that's an ability that we sometimes have and we don't use it. So I want you to look within yourself and see whether you have something within you, a sixth sense, or again, ESP. Now, I'm not going to go into all the different types of ESPs because you might have one that you don't realize and you're not tapping into it, or you just might have a very small sixth sense that you're not even tapping into, but you've got to sort of like get better at using your sixth sense. And that's my point right now. I want you to be able to know that when you're walking out to meet people and living life, you need to hone in and use your sixth sense. And that sixth sense is the sense that your mind is telling you something. That's a separate sense from the normal senses. So we have, hearing, vision, taste, smell, and touch, right? Those are our normal physical senses. So the sixth sense is another sense that comes from our mind. And that mind will intuitively tell us things. Now, again, the psychics and the clairvoyants and all of them, they do their own thing because they're given that sort of ability to tell the future or tell the unknown, tell us about events that are going to happen. And I really think that that does happen. Again, there are studies being conducted and they've done them on twins too, right? So there are things that science has been able to say does happen, but it's still controversial in the scientific world. But for me, this is my personal opinion, I think we all need to develop that sixth sense, that ability to understand or see what gift we have in seeing other people and feeling other people and reading the future and just knowing what's for you. But it does take practice and it does take concentration and it does take, again, reading up and seeing whether this is something that you are interested in or not. But the most important take home point here is you need to have a sixth sense. I always say it, spidey sense. Put your spidey sense up. When you meet people, when you're making decisions, you have to say, is this decision something that's going to be beneficial for me and the person, or is it just going to be beneficial for the person, right? So that's important to sometimes know. You want to do things that are good, but it has to have some, not, I won't say evenness, but it has to have some benefit for both parties or, people that are involved to elevate. Again, that's the game plan, to elevate. So the sixth sense is something that you're going to need when you are communicating with yourself and with others, because that's going to also save you from going down some horrible roads where you might meet people that are really, really not supposed to be, in your life. Or if they are, you know how to get them out really quickly because of your sixth sense. So that is something you really want to tap into. And a lot of people do not remember that life is about learning, and this is another thing you can learn that will really help your growth personally, especially when you are out in the world meeting people. So remember, getting to know who you are is the number one thing you have to do in communicating. Who are you? And I just wanted to say that, you know, we have a conscience, right? I think Einstein said it, that, the conscience is something that we think is separate from the world, right? So we think, I think my conscience is different from yours, different from everybody else's. But we're all here on this planet. We're all here and we're all trying to just live and then do things that we think we're supposed to do, and then we die, right? So while we're on this planet, we are going to meet people for reasons, right? And some people believe that that's destiny when we meet people. When you meet certain people, it's to elevate and for you to learn from. So it's going to be something that you are going to encounter when you meet people, that you have to sometimes engage with them to get yourself to a better place. When you don't engage, you're losing out. So we need to know that our consciousness is really, really part of a bigger picture, right? So we're all part of the same source, right? The nature or the one or the universe or God, we're all part of one, right? We're all part of that one entity. All we appear to be separate is an illusion, according to Einstein, right? It's an illusion. Just like space-time is an illusion, he says. So we have to know that even though we're separate, we're really one, and that we have all these energies and these beautiful options and thoughts and feelings and choices that we can make in terms of edifying and making ourselves much better human beings than not learning and not educating ourselves. So all this is to put together a package of you that you can say, you know what? I'm in love with myself and I'm here to give back, educate, elevate people in my community that I come in touch with, because you know it's going to come back to you 100, if not more, fold. And when you do, that is living your purpose and living the life that you were meant to live. But my main focus, of course, is the orgasm, is your relationship, being able to communicate. So today, I'm focusing on loving yourself, getting yourself to a position where you can hear and you can talk and you can understand what you need. So today, focus on what do you need and who do you have to say no to put yourself first in a serious way. Okay? All right. Enough of me chattering. I will see you guys tomorrow. Just remember, love yourself. And we're going to see how we can improve your communication in the bedroom to get that big orgasm. Okay? All right, guys. Have a great night. Bye.